professional over here.
From the B, Jason Anderson. Round of applause, please.
Bring it in.
Jason, how is it out there in Salt Lake?
Oh, it's up to a lovely 38.
We have him up. Hold on.
Yep. Kyle, can you get him up?
See, you're over there focused on being the next Scott Moe. No one can hear Mr. Anderson. Look at you. All right, let's try that again. Jason, how is Salt Lake?
It's a lovely 38 degrees now, guys.
Oh, chilly. That sounds like Sacramento in the morning, basically.
No kidding.
Jason.
You know what? 38 feels good compared to last night when I got in. So it actually 38 is really nice. It's
Okay.
I guess you can't see it, but
No.
it is a beautiful day out there if you can get a little look at it. And it's a beautiful city. It really is. Salt Lake's
Yep,
nice.
it is.
Jason, you've been covering this team for a while now. Did you ever think we were going to finally get to the point where you would actually go down to an all-star game and cover multiple Sacramento Kings players?
Well, my first year on the beat, I went to Charlotte, and there were 4 out there. But the difference was there were 3 in the Rising Stars game and 1 in the 3-point contest.
Yeah.
They didn't have 2 on the big stage in the All-Star game. So this is definitely a step up from that. And really, there's 5 if you count Keita in the
Right.
So yeah, definitely a banner year for the Kings.
Jason, I know you're doing great coverage with the B there. We have our guys there as well. I'm wondering, what are you most excited to cover over the weekend? What are you looking most forward to?
Well, I mean, obviously the All-Star game will be fun to see Fox and Sabonis get out there with just the league's best and brightest stars. And personally, I'm also really looking forward to the 3-point contest.
Yes.
Just to have Kev in the 3-point contest and you know, Buddy and Tyrese Halliburton there as well. In a little bit of a grudge match to settle all scores is going to be a lot of fun to see those guys go at it.
Jason Anderson from the Sacramento Bee joining us from the Folsom Lake Honda hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. I want to go back to that for a minute because I'm sure Kevin's just kind of whatever about it. But I got to imagine Buddy Hield of all 3 of those guys probably really wants to bring this championship back home to Indiana one more time, especially with a Sacramento King involved in the contest.
Yeah, he might. You know, Buddy's got a certain energy to him, and I love the guy. I think he's a lot of fun to be around, but he hasn't taken well to, you know, some of the post-trade stuff and getting booed when his return to Sacramento. So I'm sure he's looking forward to the opportunity to stick it to Sactown a little bit.
You know, when we spoke earlier in the year, we had you on game night and we were talking about would Fox and Sabonis both make it, right? And you felt pretty confident at the time Sabonis would make it, Fox would be a challenge. And it turned out that was the case. And if it wasn't for injury, you know, De'Aaron wouldn't be there. So, but it's great that they're both on the team. There's no doubt that De'Aaron deserved to be there.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I thought all along he had a really good chance as an injury replacement, if not, being selected by the coaches. He's just like, it was funny. I pretty much as soon as I got into town last night, I ran into Dave DeFore from The Athletic, who does a great podcast and just a really sharp guy. And we sat down and talked for probably 20 minutes about the Kings. Everywhere I go,
yeah.
Ubers, in the hotel lobby, everybody's like, oh, the Kings, my gosh, they're, what's it like covering them this year? So Dave and I talked for quite a while, and I showed him some numbers that I've kind of been working on. And like I pulled some stats on De'Aaron. I'm really happy for him to be here. I do think he deserves it. And I think this is a big step in his career. But like the numbers I was showing Dave were, if you look at some of the advanced analytics, like De'Aaron has gone in value over replacement player. De'Aaron has gone from number 175 in the league to number 42.
Wow.
He's gone from 194 to number 37 in win shares. He's gone from 79 to 31 in offensive box plus minus. He's gone from 150 to 51 in defensive box plus minus. And in overall box plus minus, he's gone from 125 to number 54. And so when I showed Dave these numbers up on my screen here, he immediately went to the conversation of most improved player. He said, oh, you got to write that. If you got to write that story, he's probably a candidate for most improved player. And, and I don't know if he's the most improved player in the league. I think we all know he was pretty good to begin with. I mean, this is not his career high scoring average, but his percentages are up, obviously. And then you see some of these other metrics kind of come into play. And there might be a case when it's all said and done that he's definitely among the most improved players. And I think a lot of that has to do with the team success and winning more games and things like that. But De'Aaron's really impressed a lot of people around the league with his just the clutch stuff that we talk about all the time, the way he's taken over fourth quarters. Dave called him a killer, and which is kind of a word I've used, fourth quarter killer. He's just really become a fourth quarter Fox is something special right now, and it's been fun to watch.
Jason, Monty McNair and the Kings obviously stayed pat at the trade deadline. Looks like, though, there may be some potential buyout candidates. Now, we haven't talked about this team being in the buyout market for quite some time because of the playoff drought. Anybody that you kind of look at that's either on the market currently or rumored to be on the buyout market that you think would be a good fit here?
I can't say I have a real good grasp of that, and who, like, I see some of the guys that are out there, and I just don't know. Like, a lot of these guys haven't played in a long time. They've been just kind of on the shelf and in waiting. And I don't know. I can't say I've got my sights set on anybody in particular in the buyout market.
Where do you see the Kings right now? Obviously, everybody's talking about everybody else made a move. Sacramento didn't. Do you feel like they can hold on to where they're at in the top 3 seed, or do you feel like it's going to be tough in the remaining 25 games?
3 is going to be tough. I mean, we all know what their schedule looks like. They have the 4th most difficult schedule in the league over these last 25 games. It's the 2nd most difficult schedule in the West. Fortunately, a lot of these teams, they're going to be playing each other. And so the Kings would really have to crater to fall out of the top 6. They would really have to have a really rough finish. And I think that needs to be the goal. Like, stay up as high as you can, but try to stay in that top 6, because things could get dicey if you get into that play-in range, especially if you end up with like a 9 or 10 spot where you've got to win 2 games. That's a toss-up at that point. So it's going to be tough. I do think there's a good chance they slide a little bit. We're going to see some teams come up a little bit. We're going to see Phoenix make a run. The Clippers, I think, are going to make a little bit of a charge. We'll see how it works with Dallas. Excuse me, guys. Golden State, I think, is going to come on. The Lakers, we'll see. Like, I expect them to be better, but like, there's just not a lot of time left for the Lakers in particular. So we'll see. Like, I don't think. I think 3. I'd be surprised to see them hold on to that spot. They've done well to maintain that as long as they have. But I think top 6 definitely should be the goal right now.
Jason, kind of looking at Mike Brown's rotations going forward, it definitely seems like we settled on a top 7. I thought Kessler Edwards did really well in the limited minutes he got in Phoenix. Is that a guy you think they're going to try to work more into the rotation, or do you think he's kind of set, 7 or 8 going forward in these last 25 games?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's tough to. Who's gonna sit in that case? I mean, are you gonna, because Kessler's minutes came at the expense of Keegan Murray the other night, and Keegan kind of went to the bench and didn't come back. Malik Monk was out that night. I'm not sure if he's going to really solidify a role for himself, but I do know Mike's looking for somebody who will stick his nose in there defensively and really be consistent at that end of the floor. And if Kessler can do that, maybe that means he keeps the rotation open a little bit more, where, maybe it's 8 or 9 or 10 guys rather than the 7 or 8. And in that case, maybe he defines a role for himself, but it's, there's not a lot of time left. And I again, you'd be taking minutes away from somebody else who's really contributed to the success thus far. If you were to do something like that.
Jason, you brought up the great numbers about De'Aaron and possibilities for most improved player. What about Mike Brown? Is he the lead candidate in your mind for coach of the year? And of course, he was touting Malik Monk for 6th man of the year. What do you think about those 2 races at this current point?
Yeah, I don't know that. I think the Malik discussion is probably come and gone. For a while he was in it. Mike Brown certainly is in the coach of the year conversation. I don't know if I think the odds have Muscala as the favorite for it in Boston. And he's done a great job.
He has, but he was also with a team that was in the championship last year. I mean, right. It's not fair, I guess, to hold that against him, but certainly if we're talking about from where they were to where they are.
Yeah, no, he definitely had a ready-made winning team like that he inherited. So, like, yeah, in my mind, I have a hard time saying that Mike Brown's not the coach of the year right now, like I personally. And he's just been phenomenal. A lot of my conversation last night with people, conversations was Mike Brown, and everywhere I go, like Mike Brown's been so great for them, and like the culture and the vibe, and like, you know, we see all the memes and we've seen all the clips and you know, turn on the Jets and, you know, all these things that Mike's done just to generate this energy within this organization have been fantastic for them. And I definitely think he's going to be in the running. I would say there's a very good likelihood he's a finalist for coach of the year.
I don't think there's any doubt about that. I have to ask you this one. Obviously, Summer League is a who's who of who's in the NBA. Multiply that, whatever the exponential number is for the All-Star game. You're seeing everybody back there. I'm wondering, who are you most looking forward to maybe running into over the weekend? Because you're going to see all the NBA royalty back there.
Oh gosh, I haven't even thought. You know, honestly, I'm looking forward to seeing Frankie and Chris.
Of all the people, Frankie Cardicelli is at the top of the list.
We have to cut that one and put that in.
I was going to say, we got to get Jason out more or something.
No, I always enjoy running into Buddy. Like Buddy's always fun. Like we have a kind of a fun, like interpersonal thing where we tease each other and make fun of each other. So it'll be fun to see Buddy. I don't know. Like I've had some really good conversations over the last couple of years with Jerry West. I don't know if he's going to be here or not. But I really admire him and enjoy like any conversations I have with him. So.
I just love that Frankie Cardicelli's in the same sentence as Jerry West. That's pretty awesome, man.
Well, I usually put the two in the same sentence, but I'm glad someone else recognizes it.
I will now, forevermore.
That was not the same sentence.
You know, actually, when we were switching over to Sactown Sports, we were actually thinking of making Frankie the logo.
Yes, he should be the logo of Sactown Sports. Take that Tower Bridge off.
Yeah, I like that.
Jason, we're out of time. We know you're in Salt Lake. Where can everybody follow along with what you're doing out there at All-Star Weekend this weekend?
Well, always at sacb.com. We've got tons of Kings content there every day of the year. It's all we do. It's all I do. You can follow me on Twitter, J Anderson SacB. All my stories get linked there. And so I hope everybody will do that.
Awesome. Jason, we appreciate it, man. Have fun out there with the legendary Frankie Cardicelli.
Yes.
I hear he's a bit of a diva, though, so if you try to get a picture, you might get a,
Don't get your feelings too hurt.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, Jason. Appreciate you joining us. All right, Scott Marsh, we have one more